Hello, welcome to the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I've been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we are continuing to move forward through another offseason together. As always, you can find our 100% free 24/7 boots on the ground coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. All right, folks, welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. Today, we are going down to number 2 in our rookie impact rankings. We've gone 9 through 3 so far. Obviously, everybody knows who number 1 is, and as a result, you now know who number 2 is. But regardless, we're going to present to you our case and why we think that player deserves to be there. Now, again, we have ranked these 9 through 1 based on, who we think will make the least amount of an impact for the Jaguars as a rookie to who will make the biggest impact. At number 9, we had offensive lineman Jonah Monheim. He clearly has some traits they can develop as a zone scheme center, but backup centers just don't play a lot of football. Number 8, we have linebacker Jalen McLeod. I think he's probably going to be the backup center on the field a lot. At number 7, we had linebacker Jack Kaiser, who very well could be a starter in 2026 if his development goes to plan. But for right now, he is behind multiple veterans in the linebacker room. And, he'll obviously make an impact on special teams and in case they get hit with injuries at linebacker again. But backup linebackers just don't play a lot of football. Number 6, we had safety Rayon Lane. Lane, I think, is going to be an absolute special teams ace for the Jaguars. I'm not sure that he's going to find a lot of playing time on defense, very similar to Kaiser. But the reason I have him above Kaiser is I just think he will make that much of an impact on special teams. At number 5, we had Syracuse running back LaQuint Allen. I think if Allen can carve out some kind of third down role for the Jaguars, whether as a pass catcher or pass blocker, that helps the offense immensely considering where they were at just a year ago with those aspects of the running. On him being put at number 3 because all he needs to do is score a couple touchdowns and he'll have, a greater impact than a lot of rookies on the team. But I just think that there's a lot of things to be figured out in the running back room. And when I made that case, I had one commenter say, because I made the case that ETN's still there, let's see how many touches there are. And he said ETN will be gone by preseason. I just don't believe ETN has a very tradable contract. I don't dismiss the idea that the Jaguars would potentially want to do so. But who wants to trade to pay a running back $6 million for 1 year unless the Jaguars just totally ate a lot of that deal and essentially, buy a pick. So that's my stance on that. And number 3, we had safety Caleb Ransaw. I'm still torn. Obviously make an impact on special teams. I'm wondering just how many snaps he'll play on defense, but it's clear he'll be a starter eventually. I think could even happen as early as this season. Number 2. Milam has a very real chance of starting week 1 at left guard. And if he's a starter on the offensive line, he is far and away the second most impactful rookie from this draft class. I think that, he had really good college tape at left tackle, really gritty player, really physical, really technically sound, just doesn't really look like a tackle. Doesn't have really the length or the wingspan that you're looking for at tackle. But, obviously if they ever need a guy in a pinch, he could fill in there if they have, that many injuries, etc. Much like Ezra Cleveland started a game at left tackle for the Jags in 2023 because they had so many injuries. But where I think he really shines is just his nastiness as a run blocker. When you think about what the Jaguars want to change in their offensive line. The interior pass pro is pretty pass protector than run blocker. I think, though, that the Jaguars, if they had to make a trade-off, if they had to say, do we want our guards to be better at run blocking or pass blocking? I feel like they'd say run blocking. And that's just an assumption on my point. But they have enough things that they can do within the scheme of the passing game to where, they can get by if a guy is not the best pass protector on the inside, at least in my opinion. Between screens, play action, the quarterback movement plays, etc. I think that there's enough they can do to kind of mitigate if a guy is not the best pass protector on the inside. If you're not the best run blocker, though, there just really aren't a lot of things that a team can do to hide you. In the running game, you can't manipulate things, really. It is who is the better player? Who is going to win this rep in the obviously at press conferences, etc., is that the Jaguars want to be a more physical team and a better run blocking team. I think they'd prefer a better run blocker over a better pass protector at guard, my personal opinion. So I think Milam has a good chance to start in week 1 for that reason. I think he, at least his skill set, we have to see him play because we've seen Ezra Cleveland play in the NFL for several years, and we still obviously have to see Wyatt Milam do the same. But as things stand today, I think Milam's skill set projects more to being that more proficient road grader and run blocker than Cleveland is. With that all said, I don't expect them to open training camp with Milam as a starting left guard necessarily. I think that they want Milam, and like they will want Walker Little and want Anton Harrison and want so many other players from their eyes. So for a guy like Ezra Cleveland, training camp is a time to go win your job. Things aren't being, I'm very much getting the sense that things aren't being given from this new coaching staff, that you have to earn it. Like there are a couple of cases that are clear. Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback. Brian Thomas is the receiver. Travis Hunter is going to play a lot. Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker are going to play a lot. The free agents they signed are going to play a lot. Tyson Campbell is going to play a lot. Otherwise, guys have to, in my opinion, earn their spots on the depth chart. So I do not get the sense that, obviously you take a guard in the 3rd round. You're expecting him to play sooner rather than later. But I don't get the sense that they would automatically throw him out there into the starting lineup, whether it's even in training camp, just because he's a 3rd round pick. I think the best. There's lots of reasons to think like why Wyatt Milam might be the obvious choice to win said job. But I still think it's going to be a competition. So I'm not, not crowning him yet, not anointing him as a starter, but I think he has a chance to do so, which compared to some of the other rookies on this list, like there are guys who have chances. Ransar has a chance. Tuden has a chance. But then there were several guys who clearly, frankly don't. I don't think Kaiser has much of a chance to start. Maybe I'll look stupid for that. I don't think McLeod does. I don't think Lane does. I don't think Monheim does. So there are only so many rookies in this class who, while I think the class as a whole will contribute, there's only so many rookies in the class who I think will start. So if Wyatt Milam can win a starting role at left guard, he is clearly right below Travis Hunter, in my opinion, as the most. As for today, Thank you for listening to the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. Please like, subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other podcast platforms. And please follow us on YouTube at Sports Videos on SI.